out in front of Lyman Hall was this big grassy quad area, like probably 100 by 100 feet. And they would gather there every day, either in the morning or the afternoon. And it was kind of ridiculous. They'd sit there and pound on drums, little tiny drums, bang on pots, cymbals, clanging cymbals, blowing horns, anything they could do to make noise and disrupt the classes that were going on inside the building with the ROTC students. It's just amazing. So we'd usually sit there and just laugh at them, and we'd work around it, close the windows and work around it, so it didn't bother us all that much. What did bother us is when we took them outside over to the fields, the rugby field and the football field, for drill practice. And then they would come out there and they would really disrupt us there and run through our formations and so forth, just trying to get in the way and make us stop. We didn't stop, we just kept going. And we made friends with the rugby team, and those guys were all huge, bigger than the football players, and they didn't wear padding. So whenever we'd have a little problem with these nuts coming through our formations, we'd just wave at the rugby players and point to them, and they would find reason to come over there and run right through them.
Good to have friends.
Oh
yes.
Yeah, just knock them down. It was amazing. Made good friends with the rugby guys up there.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was like being in combat 2 more years. I went through a couple of sets of uniforms, from having balloons filled with urine or blood, or not blood, but paint thrown at me. Went through 2 uniforms up at Brown. And then a similar thing happened when I was on the SOSO duty, because in New York City, we had the largest area to cover the most schools. We had 78 schools. Schools like Columbia University, Stony Brook Community College, New Paltz, State University of New York at New Paltz, all really liberal schools, and they did not want the military there, but it was a law. They had to allow the military to come on their campus and recruit, but they do everything they could do to disrupt us, grab the whole blankets of material we had laid out on the table and run down the hall with it. I had a big old gunnery sergeant that worked for me, who was a staff sergeant at the time, and he was my supply guy at University of Brown, New York. And we went out to Stony Brook one time, and he had his big $235 recruiting blanket laid out with all of our stuff on the front, and all of the little giveaways on the top, and pamphlets and so forth. And all of a sudden we heard this drum beat coming, boom, boom, boom. We turned around and looked, and here comes 6 or 7 of these nuts carrying a casket, a fake casket, and they were all dressed in black hoods and so forth. One of them beating a drum, and they came around the corner through the student union, and as soon as they got next to the group next of us was passing out little red books, Mao Zedong's little red book, communist book, how to be a communist.
Oh, right next door.
Yeah, and then Cesar Chavez was across the hall, his outfit. And when they got even with us, one of them blew a whistle. They were squared away as far as timing was concerned. One of them blew a whistle, and they dropped the coffin on the ground. They all came over, grabbed the blanket, rolled it up with all of our stuff in it, went back, threw it in the coffin, picked the coffin up, and ran out. And it just, you took us by surprise.
Right.
And my staff sergeant, who had signed for that blanket, he went running after him. So there was 2 officers and myself and the staff sergeant. So I told the one officer, I said, I'm going to go after him because, he's going after them by himself. So I started to go down the hallway where he went, and here he comes back. His ribbons are all ripped up, hanging off, but he's got the blanket. And he had been wounded in Vietnam. I wish I'd have taken a picture. He had been wounded in Vietnam standing next to a mine when it went off. He was an engineer. And he had, the left side of his face was hit real bad with sandblasting from the road, the dirt and all. Mm-hmm. So whenever it either got cold or he got very angry, the left side of his face had nerve damage, so there was no nerves in there, so it stayed white like this thing here. The right side would get bright red. When he came back, he looked like he'd been painted white and red because he was so mad. And I said, why did you go after them? He says, I'm responsible for that $235 blanket. He said, I was going to get it back. It's funny. So it wasn't all, you know, we got harassed quite a bit, called names, okay, sticks and stones type of thing.
Right.
But we got harassed a little bit. Again, went through some uniforms with urine-filled balloons. That was their favorite trick. I don't know how they got that urine in that balloon, but you know, however.
So when you were actually trying to pick guys up as far as recruiting, were you guys successful as far as that goes? Like, did you still have a hard time trying to get support?
We did have a hard time. I think we made our quota of the 3 years I was there. We made our quota at least twice.
Okay.
2 years, and we had, I think San Francisco, ironically, was the only OSO office in the country that had a higher quota than we did.
Huh.
We had to get so many going into the air programs, pilots, so many going into the naval flight officers, so many going into the ground, law, women, so forth. I think we only missed quota 1 year. Could be wrong, but I think it was only 1 year.
Yeah. So you guys didn't do too bad.
Yeah.
No.